Back with one and only Tony Pellegrino, GenRight.
Thanks.
Tony Pellegrino, now you took second place, right behind Jessie and Camo, by 30 minutes. Now, when you're stuck on a position where you're about 30 minutes, that's all it was because a car's rolled over on an obstacle. What's that like? Do you just want to feel like you want to strangle somebody, or?
It was really frustrating. You know, Shannon got by us just before outer limits. There was 2 cars between us. Both of those cars clogged up the line on outer limits. One was upside down. The other guy was miserably stuck. I told my co-driver to get out of the car, hook that guy up. Let's just yank him out of the way. We pulled him. He ended up, you know, he was kind of teetery. He ended up rolling on our winch line, so we couldn't even get away. So we flipped him all the way back over, and we got some in-car camera footage of this. He almost landed on the front of our car. I backed up and backed into, I don't remember who was behind me, but just boom, right into him, just so they cleared. We unhooked, we got that guy out of the way, and we just took off. Wow. And we never really saw anybody behind us in the rearview mirror. We just were going as fast as we could. Obviously, you know, there was a few guys in front of us that we were trying to make up, but, you know, the cool part this year was when you went through the checkpoints, you could see what place you were in. So
with the stickers,
yeah,
right?
We saw the number going down, and we're like, yeah, this is great, man. We're making up time. And, you know, of course, like previous year, you know, you're seeing guys off to the side, you know, good guys that really know how to drive. They were having some bad luck with, you know, during the day. So we're just making our way, driving our race, just, you know, sticking with what we knew the car could do, and just pushing on. And, you know, by the end, it worked out pretty good.
Tony, I think, you know, our viewers would have considered you an underdog for this race. I think you knew different in your heart because of how much effort, and I know how much effort that you guys put into this. And honestly, guys, there is nobody out there that does as much wheeling as this guy right here. I mean, 40-something weekends a year, you're out wheeling. Yeah. You guys just got back from TDS, went to Arizona to go wheeling, and then came to the show.
Well, he pre-ran some of the Parker course in the middle of it.
Nobody puts as much effort into this sport, into this hobby, and in really passionate than you do. So I think in your heart you weren't the underdog, but everybody else probably considered you were. Coming into that, did that help you kind of be an underdog where people were discounting you or not factoring you into it?
Yeah, I think I was definitely off the radar. I know I was talking to Jeff Knoll after the race, and he said that, you know, Shannon was coming in for the finish and they were running out of gas in the helicopter, so he had to go land and splash fuel. Mm-hmm. And he said when they came back up and the next car coming was me, he couldn't believe it. He was so stoked. He's like, Tony, man, he's coming in. This is great.
Well, it was definitely exciting, at least for us down there calling the race, because, you know, we think of you as one of our own. You're very involved in Pirate and in the sport, and so we're cheering you on the whole time. But I just got this sense that you were the underdog battling the names, and you were out there to prove something, and you guys just put on a hell of a race. I mean, I don't know if it went according to plan, but you guys had a great day out there.
Well, you know, I'm not the traditional racer. I'm a Jeep guy. And, you know, we, coming into this race, we went out and we drove the car really hard. We broke tons and tons of stuff.
That was in your plan, though, right?
That was in the plan.
So that was like your pre-running strategy, and then you kind of backed out of it as a race.
Go, okay, we know where this stuff's going to live. You know, that's great. So when we went out race day, my crew chief, Mike, you know, he was like, just stay at our pace, you know. And
how hard is that to stay at your pace? It's like I could go faster, but I shouldn't right now?
Yeah, you know, even when Shannon went by, you know, he just went by, and I'm going, man, I know the car can go that fast. So, you know, and then when we get to outer limits, you know, I'm kicking myself because 2 guys are in front of us. You know, that's the distance between us.
Lap 1, when you came in for lap 1, where were you guys at in the race position-wise at the end of lap 1?
I don't know. We'd have to look on the
stickers,
but it was pretty good.
Okay.
I mean, we were.
You're in the hunt?
Yeah, definitely top 10.
Which is good because you started 41, so you're.
So not too bad.
Yeah.
But we saw those stickers going down like we were talking about. You know, lap 1 was pretty tough. The dust, like Jason was talking about, was bad. I mean, bad. When we came across Gibraltar, which is that far out point, we were going like 108. I think you and I were talking about, and we were right on the edge of the dust.
Wait, time out, you guys. Let's just put this into perspective. they're rock crawlers that we all decided would be fun to go desert racing.
Going somewhere around 100 miles an hour, if
Now
not
we're talking
faster.
108. It's so retarded to
Yeah.
me. I mean, it's awesome, and it's really cool that you guys are pushing the envelope that far.
Yeah.
I mean, that's real.
Because these cars, they defy the laws of physics. I mean, the axles weigh more than the chassis. You know, it's just, it's not right. And I heard Jason before the show talking about how loose his car was, you know, for as fast as he was going. And, you know, I remember going that fast, and we were right on the edge of the dust. And the car's
You got to
pretty
do
loose.
it for me. Give me the feeling.
Yeah,
Show me
the car
feeling.
is, you know,
Jason didn't do
it's
it.
loose. You know, you're driving it by the seat. And, you know, there's times when you're going that fast where you don't even want to hit a pucker bush. I mean, it's like that's just enough to upset the car, and it's going to end bad. But we're going
You kept it together, though.
on the edge of the dust, and then the co-driver goes, turn right. And you just have to turn with all the faith into the dust, and you can't see anything.
We're talking about driving on GPS, you guys. And if you've ever looked at your GPS, you know, it's a little screen about this big, and there's a little pink line, and your co-driver's telling you, keep it, you know, a little left, a little right, and you're just blind. You're absolutely in the dust, and you're playing a video game, and you're driving by GPS.
He's going, go, go, go. You know, and I'm like, dude, I can't see anything. What are you talking about? Go, go, go. And the dust clears, and we literally go through the 2 stakes on the course. And I'm like, no way. You know, we're right on track. So by that time, you know, as you turned, the breeze just took the dust a little bit differently. So then it was clear, and we knew this section of the course. We just really hammered it. We did a lot of pre-running before the race too. We did about 250 miles.
I was just going to ask you, how many miles? I know you spent a week down there, probably more.
Yeah.
200 plus miles of pre-running?
Of pre-running.
In this car?
In this car, once we got the course, because, you know, a lot of guys will pre-run in something else. I don't believe in that. I want to run in the car we're racing. I want to know how fast we can hit stuff. You know, if you drove it in a Jeep or something else or a UTV, it would feel different. You know, it wouldn't be the same.
Different, yep.
And what looks like a G-out would be nothing in this thing.
Normally, I wouldn't agree with that strategy, but hey, hard to argue with second place.
It worked.
So, you know, it worked for you.
But you've been doing so much, not necessarily pre-running, but testing in your car. You knew its limits, so you knew what it could and could not get away with, right? So when you're out there pre-running, you know where you need to. Okay, it's time for me to back off, or you know what, this is the point where I can get it.
Yeah. And, you know, last year we did pretty good, 14th, you know, not too bad. It got us qualified for this year.
Absolutely respectable.
And when we came after that race, I said, I want more power, I want better brakes, and better steering. Those were the 3 things I wanted to fix. So this year we fixed all that.
More power?
More power. 200 more horsepower.
More brakes?
More brakes.
Important, because if you're going to go fast, you got to stop fast.
Well, 42s, man, those things are hard to stop.
So more power, more brakes.
Bigger brakes.
And better steering.
Better steering.
So we already had house steering, but we went to their full trophy truck setup, which is much faster. So the faster you go, the quicker you need that twitch, to get back. Because if you think about like a motorcycle, that's 1-to-1, man. You need to be fast.
I'm going to throw you for a little loop here. Let's get off the race for just a second, because I know GenRight is the official suspension of King of the Hammers, and King of the Hammers is just growing. I mean, it's just blowing up. It's huge. It's worldwide. I mean, it's incredible. But what does that mean for you, GenRight, as a business owner, to be the official suspension and bringing your product and showing the world what you got?
You know, basically, the suspension we've got on this car is very similar to what we have on a Jeep, but it's got the addition of the bypass shocks. So literally, these are the same axles that are in my red Jeep, the same coilover shocks, just with that addition of the bypass. So we're just proving, and it's in accelerated proving.
Accelerated.
You know, big time. Because you're going through parts like crazy, so we really know what's going to hold up, what the right setup is, what the right spring rate, what the right valving is. So, you know, for our customers that are ready to step up to that kind of a level, then we can really help those guys go right into it.
It was a little bit of a setup question, because I know the answer, and you guys, what the answer is to me is the passion that's in this guy's heart, in his soul, and in his every fiber of his being. You're taking that, you're going racing, you're proving it, and you're bringing it to your customers. And, you know, it's a big part of Pirate. I mean, you guys are on there, you're doing it every day, but you're not just out there to pretend. I mean, this is your life. And it's just cool to see. You're one of those guys that I like to watch because you just absolutely love it.
You know, and I love it.
I don't know if you make any money or not, but I know you love it.
No, I got $50 for second place. I mean, you know, that's nothing. But, you know, the reality is I'm stoked to be out there with the Jason Shearers and Shannon Campbells. I mean, you know, it's it's
It helps-
unbelievable.
It
you
helps
know.
push your limits too.
Absolutely, absolutely. And these, I was going to say these guys keep me honest. I really got to step up my game to
They're
compete with them. There
there is no fake in second place. You earned every bit of that.
So you got to. I was thinking about this coming up here. You've got to have some talent. You've got to have some good equipment, and you got to race smart. You've got to stay within your limits, within the vehicle's limits. And you can upset that balance a little bit. You can have a lot of talent and maybe a decent car. But you still got to have some balance within those three.
Out of everything you just said, probably the hardest thing from my perspective is racing smart. Because one thing I know about racers, when they pull that helmet on, there's a little switch that sticks out the side of their head, and it's a stupid switch. When the helmet comes on, it just flicks the stupid switch into dumb mode, and you guys get a little nutty. But
it does. You're protected. The volume level's cut down. You can't feel how fast you're going. I mean, literally, I have my co-driver calling off every 5 miles an hour.
do you listen to your co-driver?
Big time.
Yeah,
that
he's the
guy
boss.
was a huge asset. Yeah.
He's the boss.
And we're coming up on another car, and he's like straight. Go. And I'm thinking, dude, we can't see anything. We're gonna end up rear-ending somebody. But he was pushing me into that stuff, and it all worked out. So, but once we got through the first lap, the dust got a lot better. Coming into the second lap.
There's a bit of breeze that picked up,
Yeah, a little bit of a breeze and just less cars. The attrition was taking its toll on everybody and,
Well, we were down at Hammertown the whole time, so for us it was like at the beginning of the morning we're like, oh, this is not good. But pretty much after like the whole, like when you guys started coming through that first lap, it was like, oh wow, we can start seeing things. Like we felt better even for our cameras because we had some that were just completely covered in dust. But yeah, so
I was going to tell you a funny story. When I came into the main pit at 60 miles, I couldn't keep my pumper hose on, and because my Camelback was in the way. So every time we moved, it would come unplugged. Well, in that heavy dust, you need that pumper. So I got into the pit, and I don't know if you remember last year, I kind of went ballistic in one of the pits. Well, this time, Debbie's trying to pull that pack out of there, and she was trying to put it back in for me, and I'm like, no, get that thing out of here. So when the pit chief said go, I literally just got on it, and I guess everybody that was standing on the tarp, it just disappeared from underneath them as we took off. So that's kind of a funny moment for the team that everybody talks about. Like, oh man, there goes Tony, look out.
I don't know that there's anybody as excitable and happy to be racing Tony Pellegrino from GenRight, but why don't you and Jessi go over to the rig and give us a little walk around the rig, show us just what it took to come in second.
Absolutely.
now obviously you own and operate GenRight. This is a proven suspension. You took second place. This is everything. But I think the coolest thing about this car is the fact that you didn't have any issues during the race. You didn't have any flats. You didn't have any mechanical issues. Like, obviously, there's something done right here.
Well, again, that goes back to the practicing, pre-running, knowing where those limits are. We really worked with the Currys, Howe, all these guys to really make everything work on the car. And, Goodyear, Curry, Howe, Advanced Adapters, King Shocks, all these guys really pulled it together and worked with us. I know for some of them it wasn't very easy, but they did a great job, and obviously, that helped us get to the finish line.
Right.
Tony, I want to throw one thing out there. When I talked to you on the phone after King of the Hammers, I said, hey, bring the car in the state that it is after the race. Not just that. You went to TDS. You were wheeling TDS last weekend. Yep. After that, you went and pre-ran a little of the Parker 400, and now you're back here, and you haven't turned a wrench on this thing yet.
No, and these are still the same tires from race day, and we've been out there just having a good time. We over on Facebook, we posted some pictures where we were launching this thing.
That's a
like 15 feet in the air. So
pretty intense picture.
Yeah, it's a lot of fun. The car works good, and even on a landing like that, it's like you land on pillows. It's just unbelievably soft. So this year, we stayed with the 42-inch Goodyears, and I think that worked out pretty good for us.
Real quick on the Goodyears, and that was a big story of the race. Goodyear coming out and really, schooling everybody, because not only you getting second, but of course Shannon winning overall. I'm looking at this tire. There's a pretty good chunk out here. Is this the same tire you raced on here?
That is, but that happened in Parker.
Okay, so that's not from King of the Hammers?
The tires didn't even have a scratch on them after the race. They were
No flats?
Perfect. Nothing.
Wow.
Yeah, basically, it was the day I needed to. I drove a clean race, and just stayed on the track and didn't get all squirrely and off in the weeds.
Now, do you plan on racing, even though you already have a position for King of the Hammers next year? Do you have plans for racing Ultra4 for the rest of the season as well?
Yeah, we'll do the Silver State and we'll do a bunch of the other races. I don't know if we'll make it all the way back to Pennsylvania,
Of
but
course.
we'll definitely do the other races for sure.
All right, well, Tony, it's always a pleasure to have you on the show. Congratulations
Thank
on this great success story. I absolutely love it. And thank you for paying our bills, because right now we're going to go to a GenRight commercial. So
Perfect. Enjoy.